once again, everyone. This week's video I'm going to be doing a little review of the new Winsor and Newton Promarkers and brush markers. I was contacted by the fine folks at Winsor and Newton, and they asked if I wanted to receive some markers to test out and give my opinion of them, and of course I said yes, because I've always actually wanted to try these markers, but they've never been readily available for me to buy where I live, so of course I said yes, I would love to try them out. And if you guys stick with me until the end of the video, after I do like the coloring demo and talk about the markers, I am going to be having a tiny little giveaway for you guys. Winsor and Newton was very kind to provide a pad of paper, a pad of marker paper, and a set of markers for me to give away to one of you guys. So stick with me till the end and you can hear about that, and then you can enter the giveaway, see what I think about the markers and stuff like that. So I guess we will just go ahead and get started. Alright, so as I said earlier, these are the two sets that I gave to you, but you can see right here that I actually do have more of these than what was given to me. I had these for about probably 3 or 4 weeks. I think I got them at the end of December. So I've had time to like mess around with them and try them out, and I know I really like them. That's the first thing I'm going to say. Like, they're really good quality. The ink quality is really great. But so I decided to go ahead and purchase a couple more. So I got a couple more sets with my own money, just so that I could have a bit more of a color range to test these out, so I could really show you, because I know that Winsor & Newton has been sending out marker sets to a lot of YouTubers, which is really awesome. I love seeing everybody else's opinions about these. I wanted to see some of the other types of colors. So I've got the skin tone set in the brush markers. I've got the neutral set in the brush markers, because these would have been the first ones that I chose to purchase, because I'm really into neutrals. And I have the 6 mid-tone set in the brush markers as well. I also have a bunch of loose markers that I also purchased. Some of them are brush markers, some of them are pro markers. I think the majority of these are actually pro markers, if I'm not mistaken. So I have these as well. Alright, so this is the color chart that I have that has the colors that I own put on it, but I'm going to actually talk about the markers themselves, the packaging first, because I like to know about the type of packaging that the markers that I purchase comes in. So I'm going to talk about the pro markers and the brush markers, because they have the same packaging, but they're a little bit different. I'm going to zoom you guys in just a teeny little bit, maybe. There we go. Alright, so I have a pro marker here and a brush marker. I guess I'll talk about the pro marker first. The packaging itself is really good quality. It's like a matte black barrel. It does have a sticker on it, and it has a number label on it, which is really nice, because I know that the old ones, the Letraset ones, did not have a label on them as far as I know. I never used the Letraset because I couldn't, as I said, get them where I lived, but the packaging is really nice. My favorite thing about the packaging on these markers is actually the caps. As you can see, the flat cap is the side that holds the chisel nib, and that is true for both markers. And the pointed end is the side that will either hold the bullet nib, like this one, or the brush nib in the case of the brush markers. And that's my favorite thing about this packaging, and it also has this little like nubby thing. I don't know if you guys can see that very well right here, but it prevents your markers from rolling, which is awesome. Like, they won't go any farther than just rocking back and forth, as opposed to, say, something like a Copic Chow, which will just like roll away forever and fall on the floor and get lost. But yeah, that's one of my favorite things about the packaging on the pro markers, is that they have that little nib, and that it's easy to identify which side is the fine or brush nib on the markers, and I think that that's really awesome. Alright, so I'm going to talk about just the markers themselves, each the pro marker and the brush marker. The pro markers come in 148 colors, if I'm not mistaken. They have the bullet nib and the chisel nib. They say on the packaging that they are streak free, and I can tell you, they blend like a dream. They're so, like, they blend so well, and the ink quality is very nice. And the ink quality is the same in both markers. The only thing that really is different about these is the different nibs. And so the brush marker comes in only 72 colors, which I hope that they start making more colors, because these are very nice markers. I don't mind the chisel nib, because I have experience using chisel or fine nibs and the chisel nib. So that didn't really bother me, but I know a lot of people like to work with a brush nib rather than a bullet nib. But yeah, so they basically are the same except for the difference in the nib sizes. And as you can see behind these markers, this is the color chart that I have of all the colors that I own. I could not actually find a Winsor and Newton color chart for the actual markers, so I just used the Letraset one, but there are some colors, as you can see, like right here and right here. The colors are not on this color chart because this is the most up-to-date one I could find, so I'm assuming that there are additional colors since this has been made, but I would really like to see Winsor and Newton actually make a color chart for these, because I know that I like to have a color chart near me when I'm coloring, because this is my Copic color chart, and I always have this like on hand, which is why it's all destroyed and stuff, but I like to have this so I can see like color comparisons and stuff. So that is something I would really like to see Winsor and Newton do. Now I'm going to jump into a little illustration demo that I did. This is the sketch of the illustration that I colored. I wanted something a bit simple, but that had an area that had a big swash of colors so that I could test out how streak-free they actually were. So I have a big area that's a solid color, so I can actually test that out. And then I had some more pastels, and I tested how well they blended together, how the brush markers and pro markers, since they have different nibs, how well those blended together. And while I'm playing that demo, it will be time-lapsed, obviously, but I'm going to talk about like the pros and the cons of the markers and what I overall think of them. So I guess we'll just hop into that and get started. Alright, so before I start talking about my pros and cons for these markers, I want to mention the supplies that I'm using in addition to the Winsor & Newton markers themselves. I am coloring on my normal paper, which is the Gina K Pure Luxury cardstock. I am using the white cardstock rather than the ivory like I normally do, since I know a lot of people don't color on ivory, and I wanted to test the color clarity on white paper rather than on the ivory, since most people will be using white, as I said. I am using the Copic multi-liners. I am using wine and pink. Those are the colors that I'm using for the lining. I wanted to test to see how the Winsor and Newton markers worked with those particular multi-liners, because they're the ones that I normally use, and they do not smear them at all, which is great. And I am using my trace pad LED light box to transfer my original sketch onto a clean piece of paper so that I can color it rather than losing the sketch itself. So those are the supplies I'm using in addition to the markers themselves. I also forgot to mention the price of these markers, and I think that's important to know how much they cost. So I got my price information off of the Blick website, and that's where I bought the individual ones that I purchased myself. That's where I bought them from, so that's where I'm going to base my prices off of. The Pro markers are $4.19 US dollars, and the brush markers are $4.49 per marker US dollars. So it's just a teeny little bit difference between the Pro marker and the brush marker. It's like, what, 30 cents more for a brush? So that's good to know. They're not expensive. They're way cheaper than Copic's. As far as I know, they sell them at Michael's, I believe. They have them at the Michael's by my house, but they're very expensive, so I would highly recommend if you are going to purchase these markers, buy them online. They're way cheaper. So now I'm going to jump into my pros and cons, mostly pros, like two teeny little personal cons, which is not bad, and it's very subjective. So my favorite thing about these markers was the fact that the ink blends so beautifully. When it says on the packaging that they're streak-free, they are not kidding. They are very streak-free. As I said before I started this little coloring demo, that I did include a large area of a flat color in this piece so I could test to see how well using the chisel nib blended together, because I know that there are markers that the chisel nib just does not blend. It doesn't blend at all. But these markers, absolutely 100% the chisel nib can be blended to make a large flat color that doesn't look streaky. And that's amazing, because I've never seen that in a marker before. Even Copics, when you use the chisel nib, they can start to look a little bit streaky, especially with darker colors, and that's why I chose a dark navy to do the large area of flat color in, because I wanted to see if it blended together nicely. Another pro for me was how just clear and vibrant the colors are. They are very specific colors, and they all are just so bright and vibrant, and they blend together flawlessly without becoming muddy, and that's something that is really important to me, who likes to layer colors a lot. They blend together pretty effortlessly regardless of how much color you lay down. They don't pool on the paper, at least on the paper I used, and they don't get dirty looking after you've layered too many times, because I know that that happens with a couple of marker brands that I've tried before, but that does not happen with these markers in particular. Probably my favorite thing about using these markers was actually the bullet nib on the Promarkers. I'm not a big fan of the bullet nib, I think it doesn't blend well, but for these markers, it blended so beautifully with the colors that I had laid down. I was so surprised. It made me want to go and buy more Promarkers just to have the option of having that little bullet nib. It like opened up this whole other like ability to color small spaces while still blending with larger areas of color without it being streaky or weird looking, and you guys know what I mean who've used markers before. But the bullet nib was actually one of my favorite things about these markers, and I used it quite often, even though the video is super sped up and you can't really see it, but I did use it quite often for the tiny details, especially on her face. And I just think that the bullet nib is actually a big plus for this. The brush nib is great too, but I actually found myself really leaning towards the bullet nib, which surprised me. Alright, so I'm going to do a quick little discussion on my two tiny little cons for these markers, which aren't that big a deal. It's very subjective, as I said. One, they're not refillable, which I don't care about. Some people might care about that, but I don't care about that, so that doesn't bother me, but I just thought I'd mention it in case it bothers somebody else. The other thing that kind of did bother me was the fact that they have a smell. And they are alcohol-based markers, so obviously they're going to have an alcohol smell, but the alcohol smell, for me personally, was a little bit intense. So I just wanted to kind of throw that out there for people to know in case they wanted to try these out. It didn't bother me after a while. I kind of got used to it, but some people have very sensitive smell, and that might bother them. So I thought I would mention that really quickly, but they have a smell. They smell like Prismacolors, but a little bit more intense if you've smelled a Prismacolor marker before. But yeah, so that's really all I have for this little illustration. That's all done. And now I'm going to go ahead and go back and talk a bit more about the markers and mention the little giveaway that I'm going to have for you guys. So I will see you guys in just 1 second. Alright, so that is really it for the coloring demo and my pros and cons about the Winsor and Newton Promarkers and brush markers. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what's going on with the little giveaway now, so I will do that. Alright, so as I said towards the beginning of the video, Winsor and Newton was very kind to provide a little set of markers and a pad of paper to give away to one of you guys. So I will be doing a little Rafflecopter giveaway for you. To enter the giveaway, you have to click the link that will be down below. It will take you to my Tumblr, and right at the very top of my page will be the giveaway like widget. So what you do is it will give you, you'll have 4 chances to enter the giveaway. One will be to subscribe to me on YouTube, obviously. One is for following me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. There will be an alternative link to the giveaway widget, because I know some people had a problem seeing it last time. Over on my Facebook, the only kind of bad thing about the one being on Facebook is that you have to, I believe you still have to like the Facebook page in order to be able to enter the giveaway, which is not ideal. But that is an alternate entry, as well as an alternate way to enter in case somebody can't see the widget on my Tumblr. You don't need to follow me on Tumblr or anything, it's just located there rather than me putting it on my main website, because that's not really YouTube related and blah blah blah. Yeah, so as I said, there will be one winner for both of these items. So it is the A4 paper pad, the marker paper pad. I have not touched this, but it is very nice quality paper. And then a 12 set of the Promarkers, which are right here. I actually bought this set, which is why I chose to give away the larger set rather than the smaller set, because I actually purchased these in Brushmarker for myself. And as I said, the winner will be contacted privately. I'm not going to be doing like an announcement video or anything, since it is just a small little giveaway thing, but I want to do more of these small kind of giveaways for you guys, because I like doing that. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. All the information that I've already said will be listed down below, as well as I can do like a post on my Tumblr or something if people need that as well. But yeah, so good luck. Alrighty, so I guess that is it for this Promarker and brush marker product review demo video. If you guys have used the old Promarkers, like the Letra set ones, let me know in the comments down below, especially if you've tried the new Winsor and Newton ones, because I want to know how they compare, since I never got to try the old ones myself. So if you've tried them, you can let me know in the comments down below. If you have any questions about the giveaway or anything like that, you can also leave me a comment down below. And another big thanks to Alice over at Winsor and Newton who contacted me about trying out the markers. I do really love them and will definitely be purchasing more of them in the future. But that is really all I have time for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more product reviews from me, you can let me know because I actually kind of like doing this type of thing. So I will see you guys shortly for the next video, and thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!